Sorry, I'll first we all together pay respect to the Buddha and we'll start the session. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So, as you all know, that we were discussing the topic of Kamma. In a way, we are going through it in various different ways. And to some extent, we all know certain aspects of the Kamma and certain misunderstandings about Kamma, and then certain implications in our mind or certain inclinations in our mind, how we may tend to do various Kamma, and some common, very known facts about the Buddha's teaching. Sabbapapasakaranang, Kusalassa upasampada, Sachitta pariyodapanang, Hetam buddhana sasanang, where Buddha mentioned that non-doing of any evil, the performance of what is skillful, and cleansing of one's mind. And this is the Buddha's teaching. So very much like centered in the Kamma, where Buddha is asking us to avoid any kind of evil deeds, unwholesome deeds, and engage with something good. And not only that, one needs to purify one's mind. So we discuss in detail about these kind of topics. And most importantly, actually, we at last discussed about the Nibbedika Sutta, where a comprehensive analysis of Kamma is given from a few different angles. So in there, Buddha asks, what is Kamma? So Kamma should be known as intention. So this is a very common, very popular statement. Chetanaham bhikkhave kammang vadami, chetayitva kammang karoti, kayena vachaya manasa. So I mentioned that intention is the Kamma. Intending one does Kamma by way of body, speech, and intellect. So by the mind. So this is a very important part where if there is something happen unintentionally, so that means there is no any kind of Kamma accumulation. And on the other hand, how Kamma comes into being. So what is the Nidana? What is the Samudaya? What is the reason, cause? So there Buddha mentioned the contact is the cause. And then there is a fair diversity of Kamma. There Buddha mentioned certain people may, or someone may get the results of Kamma at different places, sometimes in the hell realm, sometimes in the common animals, in hungry shades, in the human realm, in the heavenly realms. So likewise, there's a possibility in the Kamma that one can get its results at many different ways, at many different places. As a result of that, there's a Vemattata, what we call as the diversity of the Kamma. And on the other hand, the result of Kamma should be known. So there Buddha mentioned in terms of the time, that which arises right here and now, immediately they may bear fruit. And on the other hand, the next lifetime, that is called Upapajjavejaniya. And then afterwards, till we attain the Mahaparinibbana, or kind of a Parinibbana, or complete, fully enlightenment, and that person also passed away. So till that time, there's a very vast area at any given time. So this kind of a fruit can happen. So likewise, Buddha broadly categorized the possibility of giving fruits, bearing fruits, according to the time. And cessation of Kamma is where the cause of the Kamma has to be ceased. So that is the passa, the contact has to be ceased. And again, another interesting part is how the cessation can happen. So that is through the development of the Noble Eightfold Path. So from that onwards, actually, I thought of discussing further today. Actually, there are various aspects from there onwards we can talk, and according to the Buddha's teaching. And there, the main statement in that Nibbedika Sutta is the intention is what Buddha declared as the Kamma. And on the other hand, this intention is typically categorized into the formations aggregate, Sankhara Khanda. So therefore, giving a little bit of attention onto this Sankhara is worth. So there Buddha mentioned what are the fabrications. Katamecha bhikkave Sankhara. Chaime bhikkhave chetana kaya. So Buddha mentioned there are 6 groups of intentions or 6 groups of formations. Rupa sanchetana, saddha sanchetana, gandha sanchetana, rasa sanchetana, pottabba sanchetana, dhamma sanchetana. So basically, we can understand now with respect to our faculties, then there's a possibility of arising various intentions. Intention aimed at sights, intention aimed at sounds, smells, tastes, tactile sensations, and ideas. So that means they are the kind of triggers when certain forms or sights happen and get aligned with the eye. So there may be a possibility of arising of an intention. Similarly, when there is a sound contacted, so then there's a possibility of arising of an intention. Similarly, when there is taste, there's a possibility of arising an intention. So this is a kind of a formula we can come across in the Madhupindika Sutta. Chakkuncha paticca rupecha uppajjati chakku viññāna. So when there is the eye and the form, then there's a possibility of arising the eye consciousness. Tinnan sangati passo. Now when this happens again and again, these 3 comes together. In overall, it is considered as the passa, the contact, and passa pacca vedana. It produces the feeling. Yang vedeti tan sanjanati. So when that feeling occurs, so we start trying to recognize it. So that is where we little interrupt the process. So that is where we are somewhat attending to the process. Yang vedeti tan sanjana. Till that, actually, it's a kind of a causal reaction, what is going on. It is even common to the Buddhas, to the Arahants, till Vedana, till the feelings. But afterwards, then we are putting our hand, yang vedeti tan sanjanati. So that means whatever we have felt, now we are trying to recognize yang sanjanati tan vitakketi. Now from there onwards, the formations happen. Now there's a thoughts occurring, and on top of that, there are many other thoughts can happen. So at manifold ways, thinking can happen, and ultimately it can lead to the conceptual proliferation level. Yang sanjanati tang vitakketi, yang vitakketi tam papancheti. So likewise, here also Buddha beautifully explained here. So likewise, with respect to 6 faculties, so different kinds of thinking, different kinds of intentions can arise, thoughts can arise, and that actually have the capacity to generate Kamma. And on the other hand, there's another way that we can look at this Kamma from the right viewpoint of view. Now, right view, Sammaditthi. So Sammaditthi is something that we all little familiar with. That is the first path factor in the Noble Eightfold Path. And there are very interesting connection with Kamma where Buddha highlights. So that is, Buddha mentioned the Sammaditthi is twofold. The first one is actually the mundane kind of Sammaditthi, what we call as Lokiya Sammaditthi. And then the second is the Lokuttara Sammaditthi, or what we call as the supermundane Sammaditthi. Actually, in this mundane type of Sammaditthi, sometimes recognized as the Kammasakata Sammaditthi. Probably you have heard about these words. So Kammasakata Sammaditthi actually is fairly based on the Kamma. So one basically believes in Kamma and one stands on it, and basically very much like inherit Kamma. So therefore, broadly, Buddha mentioned that the Sammaditthi, the right view, is 2 types. That is right view with influxes, sasava, siding with the merit. That means punya bhagya, resulting in the acquisition. That means upadi vepakka. So different kinds of acquisitions, different kinds of, say, results can produce either wholesome or unwholesome. And basically here, if we are getting to the wholesome side, then the wholesome benefits are there. But still, there's a little bit of ignorance is left. As a result of that, it has certain influxes being generated. And on the other hand, there is the noble right view, that is the Lokuttara Sammaditthi. And there it is without influxes, without asavas. And it is transcendent, it is supramundane. a factor of the path. It's the right side or the supreme side of the samadhi. So what is most important here for our discussion today is the first one. That is the Kammasakata samadhi. And what is the right view that has influxes, sides with merit, and results in acquisitions. So there Buddha categorized that into 10 items. There is what is given, what is offered, what is sacrificed. There are fruits and results of good and bad actions. There is this world and the next world. There is mother and father. There are spontaneously reborn beings. There are Brahmins and contemplatives who, faring rightly and practicing rightly, proclaim this world and the next after having directly known and realized it for themselves. So basically, giving us a kind of a healthy stand without getting to unwholesome, unhealthy repercussions. So basically, here Buddha is asking us to become good people in a way. So based upon Kamma, one may act wisely, intentionally, as a result of good Kamma is generated, so that you are very much in the side of the right side, the side of the merit. So that is one sense that is necessary. So without having this moral standard, then one can't have a kind of a good foundation to develop in the samadhi, the concentration, and the wisdom. So developing of this foundation is where highlighted here. So one is basically having a kind of safe abiding. And that safe abiding is now can be used to further develop concentration and wisdom. Therefore, this Kammasakata samadhi becomes very much like the foundation. So without that, it is difficult to think about supramundane kind of samadhi. But on the other hand, that doesn't mean that we need to be perfect. Before we are starting supramundane samadhi, that we have to be perfect with the mundane kind of samadhi. It is not what I want to emphasize. We need to pay attention to mundane type of samadhi. We have to come to that. And we may not be yet perfect, but still we can work for the supramundane even. But at that time, actually, again and again, a refinement may happen at the mundane kind of samadhi. Therefore, we can see it's a kind of a evolving process, not that we complete the mundane type of samadhi and then start supramundane. Rather, we establish ourselves as much as possible, honestly, on the mundane kind of samadhi, and then we start working on the supramundane type. As a result of that, further refinement may happen within us, so that we become very much like exceeding the Kamma, or one can even get into the cessation of Kamma. So basically, in the other sense, what I am trying to say is that we are developing the Noble Eightfold Path. As we understood from the Nibbedika Sutta, so if one is developing Noble Eightfold Path, there's a possibility of coming out of Kamma, or giving a different angle to the Kamma, where one is no more producing new Kamma. So that is another area. And then there's another interesting topic when we are talking of Kamma, that is new and old Kamma. So what is the old Kamma? So there Buddha mentioned, the I is old Kamma, to be seen as generated and fashioned by volition, as something to be felt. So we know that when we are born, so a fair amount of faculties are grown, and they are based on the past Kamma. So if we had good past Kamma, so it has the potential, it has the capacity to generate a healthy kind of faculties. So therefore we can understand, so there's a link between our past Kamma. So the ear is all Kamma, nose is all Kamma, tongue is all Kamma, body is all Kamma, and the mind is all Kamma, to be seen as generated and fashioned by volition. So all these are in a way intended. So we have made a lot of intentional activities during our past, and that have produced this life's faculties. So when we are born, so there's a kind of a potential that we are carrying forward, and that has caused so this new born person to be evolved, and he already gained this past Kamma, the results of the past Kamma. So they are the 6 faculties. And then what is the new Kamma? So that is what actually we need to pay even more attention. Whatever action one does now by body, speech, or mind, This is called new Kamma. So therefore, we can see that there's a possibility of generating new Kamma as well. And here also in this in Sutta, the Kamma Sutta in the Samyutta Nikaya, there again Buddha asks the same question. And what because is the cessation of Kamma? When one reaches liberation through the cessation of bodily action, verbal action, and mental action, this is called the cessation of Kamma. So this is another very interesting area that we need to understand. So previously Buddha mentioned when one is able to cease contact, that is where the cessation of Kamma happens. Another explanation is given to that in a way, a little bit of more practical way. Buddha mentioned if one is able to cease all bodily actions, cease all verbal actions, cease all mental actions, so that is where you are able to stop the generation of the Kamma, where you get into a cessation of the Kamma. On the other hand, you stop all the intentions. When you stop all the intentions, there are no bodily actions, there is no any speech, there is no any thoughts. On the other sense, we can say the mind is liberated, where the mind has become completely detached. Mind has come to a state where it is not associating anything at all. There is no grasping at all. There is no any kind of an activity, but just awareness is there, but it is a freed awareness. It is not that intentionally you do something, rather you stop all doings. And then as a result of that, all intentional activities have stopped and you are fully aware of that. That's it. So this is a very, very interesting and very, very important aspect of Vipassana, where one is getting to this kind of a state. And what because is the way leading to the cessation of Kamma, that is nothing but the Noble Eightfold Path. So when one develops Noble Eightfold Path, Sila Samadhi Panya, so sometimes one may be able to touch upon this. Sometimes one may be able to reach a state where no intentions are available. You are not making even a bodily movement. You are not talking. And there are no even thoughts in the mind. A very relaxed, a very peaceful, very calm, very released state of mind. So this released state of mind is something that one needs to understand. So otherwise one may even slip that. That's a very crucial point where one is continuing one's practice, continuing one's vipassana, recognizing the true behavior of various phenomena. As a result of that, the wisdom is growing. And as wisdom is growing, slowly, one may come across a kind of a mental state where there is nothing. Basically, there is no intention, there are no thoughts, and there is no any kind of grasping, there is no any kind of holding. And everything has ceased, everything has stopped, but one is fully aware. So that kind of released awareness, where we can understand, is the place where all bodily actions are stopped and the mental actions are stopped, volitional activities are stopped. So the Kamma has ceased. The generation of the new Kamma has ceased. Of course, we may get the impact of the past Kamma, but there is no generation of new Kamma. So this is a very, very interesting point that we need to understand, particularly when one is developing Vipassana meditation. And there are certain wrong views of Kamma, sometimes fairly people misunderstood with respect to Kamma. So this is also discussed in the Sivaka Sutta. This is also very, very important because some of us may tend to believe that. So whatever a person experiences, whether it be pleasant or painful or neither pleasant nor pleasant, all that is caused by what was done in the past. What does Master Gautama say about this? So this question is asked by the Mauliya Sivaka, and he is a layman and he is asking this question. So it seems like among the Brahmins, so this kind of a Niyativada was there. Kubbe Kata Hetuvada was there. So everything happens because of the past reason. So we have no answer, we have no say, we have no other option. We have to go through that past actions, the result of the past action. So this sort of Pubbhe Kata Hetu Vada is fairly established in the old society, and even today, many are believing that. Sometimes whenever they go through something bad, so simply they say, okay, this is my bad karma. Probably when they experiencing something good, they might not say like that. But particularly when they go through some unfortunate situation, they may attribute it to the karma and simply say, okay, this is due to my bad karma, result of the bad karma, bad past karma. There's a kind of a narrowing down the activity. So there Buddha mentioned, so whatever the results when we are experiencing right now, whatever we are experiencing right now can happen due to various causes. So it's a very, in a way, common sense here Buddha highlights. Assume that one is going through a kind of a disorder, kind of a disease. And there Buddha categorized them, okay, certain diseases are possible as a result of bile, pitta samutthana abhada. And certain other diseases are possible as a result of the phlegm, semma samutthana abhada. And there are certain others because of the wind, vata samutthana abhada. And actually these humors have to be actually properly balanced. Otherwise, the body may go through various difficulties, various disorders, various diseases. So as an imbalance of all these three, again, a kind of disease can happen. So it's a very fragile process that actually we are going through. The body is, in a way, quite a fragile, vulnerable state. So it is depending on so many other factors. If any of those factors going through any kind of fluctuation, it may represent as a kind of a disease. So still there is no implication about the karma. You can see that this, whatever the disorder, whatever the disease, whatever the illness that we are talking right now is purely because of those humors. And it may be because of bile, it may be because of flame, it may be because of wind, or combination of all three. And then produced by change of climate. Utuparinamaja abada. Where you know that nowadays many issues are there with respect to the climate. So there are situations where the flooding happens, maybe tsunamis happen, maybe temperature increase happen, tornadoes happen. So many things are there. So how about their influence? So they are another area. So we are born into a world, all these vulnerabilities are available. They are not our past karma. We may be coming to this world as a result of past karma, but when we are going through this world experiences, so all these different other aspects are there, influences are there. So ultimately we are going through. So there Buddha mentioned produced by change of climate. As a result of climate change, there are many other situations happen. So we have to endure that. We have to go through that. And Visama Parihara Jabada. So there again Buddha mentioned, if you are careless about your behavior, if you are careless about your health, then of course you may go through a lot of other repercussions. Suppose you are not careful about what you eat, and so probably you may end up with diabetics. And there you having diabetics, assume that you are not caring about yourself, about your food, your diet. Again, you get into more trouble. So likewise, when we are using this body and the mind, we have to be careful in that sense. We have to be, in a way, little bit attentive what we are going through. So if we are neglectful about our behavior, then definitely we are asking for more problems. And then caused by assault. So that means someone else can get into the picture and they may interrupt us. They may do something wrong. They may disturb us. Opakkamika abada. So others also can involve, either giving us something good or something bad. giving us a favorable result or unfavorable result. So that is also possible. And at last, Buddha mentioned produce as a result of karma. So that is, we can say, okay, during our past lives or within this life, we have done something good or something bad. As a result of that, now we are going through certain experience. Now here, actually, Buddha summarized 8 causes. Maybe there are other causes also available, but here Buddha summarized 8 causes. Among them, karma is just one. So there are 7 other causes. So how to recognize whenever we are going through certain feelings, whether it has come because of karma, whether it has come because of bile, because of flame, because of wind, because of climatic change. So it may be quite difficult immediately to think that this particular experience has happened due to this reason. But probably we can do a favorable or fairly good guess, but it may not be perfect. So that's why certain other suttas Buddha mention the subject of karma actually is a difficult subject, is only possible to comprehend by the Buddhas. So if others are going to comprehend it in its full capacity, so one may go mad. So even like that, Buddha mentioned, because it's so vast in a way. So we can't understand how many past karma is available and how they are giving their fruits and what we have generated today, yesterday, during our lifetime. So we haven't made any kind of an account of that. It's a vast area. So how we are getting today's results or present results, present experience? There are various influencing factors. So determining exactly whether it is happening due to karma is also quite difficult. So as a result of that, if someone say everything happens because of the past karma, so then that's a wrong view. So that is why Buddha mentioned here as the summarizing or concluding remark. So any Brahmins and contemplatives who are of the doctrine and view that whatever an individual feels, either pleasure, pain, or neither pleasure nor pain, is entirely caused by what was done before, because the past karma. So that is somewhere that they overshoot, slip past what they themselves know, slip past what is agreed on by the world. So that is somewhat exceeding their limits. Therefore, I say that those Brahmins and contemplatives are wrong. So basically, we need to understand that some people have this tendency thinking that the everything, whatever we go through, happens because of the karma. So that is entirely wrong view. If it happens completely due to karma, then there is no possibility of stopping the karma. There is no possibility of cessation of the karma. And again, Buddha sometimes highlight, then there is no point of talking about the brahmacharya. That means the kind of a spiritual life, because everything is already predetermined. If everything is predetermined, then we have no say. Then we are poor victims. So that is completely a wrong view that Buddha denied. And here we can see in this sutta, in the Sivaka Sutta, Buddha talks about 8 reasons, 8 causes, how we may go through certain diseases. Typically, we talk about here the negative side, and similarly, we can come across various positive sides as well. But here the emphasis is given to the negative result, where one's body or mind is going through certain difficulties, diseases, and it can happen due to various causes, various reasons. And karma is just a one reason. And 7 other reasons are here, Buddha highlights, explains. And therefore, if any of us have any kind of a wrong view, thinking that today I am suffering because of my past karma, today I am going through this difficulty because of my past karma, everything happens due to past karma. So that is a kind of a extremist view that we don't need to encourage, we don't need to believe. Rather, we can think differently. Basically, there is a possibility of cessation of the karma. There's a possibility of that one can even overcome the karma. So that is sometimes explained in the certain suttas. Lonapala Sutta is one interesting such sutta. Probably we can take that separately in a future occasion, where Buddha mentioned even if one has certain amount of Kamma already accumulated. If you are producing good Kamma today, if you are producing fair amount of wholesome Kamma today, that wholesome Kamma can surpass that old past bad Kamma. So that potential is available. But on the other hand, if you only have past bad Kamma, you don't have enough good Kamma, then the result may overwhelm you. So the Buddha giving a very interesting simile. So if one is taking a little bit of salt to your hand, and if you are putting it into a cup of water, immediately that cup of water becomes salty. But on the other hand, if you are taking the same amount of salt and put it into a river, so that river may not become salty because a vast amount of water is available there. So similarly, Buddha mentioned, if one's wholesome actions are so great, one has done a lot of wholesome actions, and the wholesome power in oneself is so great. So even if he does any unwholesome activity, its impact is very minimal. Either it may produce a little bit of impact within this life, it may not go to the next life at all. But on the other hand, if one doesn't have such amount of merit, then the same kind of a bad deed can even take one to the hell realms in the next life. So we can understand how Buddha highlights the possibility of overcoming our bad karma. So if we are producing more and more good karma, so that indicates you are in a way surpassing all the bad karma, and ultimately one can even reach to the level of cessation of the karma. Suppose that you are developing vipassana, and we know that even in the samatha meditation, you are producing a lot of good karma. Say you practice buddhanusati, you practice metta, and all that actually generate a lot of good karma. And when you are practicing vipassana, that actually the vipassana karma, or what we say as the vipassana merit, can surpass all the other merits. It's called typically as adhikosala, where that merit Buddha has kept as the supreme or super kind of the highest level. And that way we can see slowly you are developing your wholesome karma. So that wholesome karma may surpass all the other bad karma, and you can even ultimately reach to a state where no more new karma is being generated. So as we discussed, there are old karma and the new karma. So one may even reach to a state there is no new karma being generated because you are not intentionally doing anything. It doesn't mean that you become completely passive, but you come across a state where mind is not grasping anything. Mind is not making a self. Mind is not ignorantly making a self-view. So one has understood the property of the anatta or the non-self. As a result of that, one's mind is fully released, and one may be enjoying that released state of mind. So as a result of that, mind is calm, relaxed, silent, and there is no intention. So you are bodily relaxed, and your speech is stopped, and even the mind completely ceases its inner chatter or conceptual preparation, and it is experiencing very relaxed inner peace. So this is a state where we can say you may be enjoying a state where the cessation of karma is going through. Kinam puranang navannatti sambhavang viratta chitta ayatike bhavasmi. So there Buddha mentioned in the Ratana Sutta, Kinam puranang. Now the old karma slowly you have exhausted, because you have generated a fair amount of strong, good, wholesome karma. So the impact of the unwholesome karma, fairly you are able to overcome. It doesn't mean we are able to overcome everything. There may be certain residues available. It may give certain amount of results. It even can happen to the Buddhas. Buddha acknowledged that. So we also may have the same kind of result, where a certain amount of impact still is possible, but fair amount is able to overcome as a result of the producing of the new karma, new wholesome karma. Kinam Purana Navannati Sambhava. Now you may come across the Noble Eightfold Path where you are coming to a state, you go through that stage and now you stop everything. There is no generation of newcomer because you understood there is no person here, there is no being here or individual here. There is no personality view, Sakkaya Ditti. Now slowly you are coming to another level of understanding where actions may be happen, thoughts may happen, but there is no grasping. And time to time, probably you may experience complete silence where there is no bodily activity, there is no speech, and you are experiencing the cessation Kamma at its fullest capacity. So likewise, recognizing such kind of possibility is very, very interesting. And we can say it is fairly connected with the Patissamuppada. So avidya pacca sankhara, sankhara pacca vijnana. So till we have fair amount of ignorance, we do a lot of fabrications. We do generate a lot of sankhara. We do generate a lot of intentions. And ultimately, all the suffering happens intentionally. We do a lot of activities. All the suffering going to happen. But the more we have enough understanding, more our understanding has grown to a fair extent. So fabrications become less and less. So your mind is capable of stopping the fabrications, stopping the fantasizations. So all proliferations are fairly calmed down, relaxed. Mind has become silent. So now you are experiencing kind of a silence that is something noble, we can say, kind of a noble silence. It is not that you simply stop talking, but internal chatter also has stopped. Rumination has stopped. Conceptualization has stopped. Proliferation has stopped. So it's a very interesting state that for us to explore as a result of the practice, as a result of the Noble Eightfold Path, when one is act according to that. So it is leading to such kind of a very interesting result where Buddha mentioned that is the cessation of the Kamma is possible. So we'll talk about further about these possibilities and the various aspects about Kamma, maybe at another level. And today, I think this is enough for today's discussion. So we can see this is a very interesting subject where our path, our practice also has a fair connection, and we are in a way slowly maturing ourselves, having certain amount of understanding about the Kamma, and at the same time developing our practice so that we are giving a very thorough answer or very interesting answer to this question. And Buddha highlights that. And according to Buddha teaching, so it is possible. So that is the interesting part. So it gives us a kind of a opening that we are not poor victims of the fate. We are not a poor victim of our destiny. Rather, there's a possibility of overcoming all that, and we are able to be freed. Okay, with that, I like to conclude today's Dhamma sermon. Now we can get into a short practice session. May you sit in a comfortable position, and I am going to guide you a few minutes for the practice, and then we can practice together, and after that we can go for a short question and answer session. Please sit in a comfortable position, relax yourself. You can take a deep breath, hold it for a while, and slowly release. Calm down yourself, relax yourself, and gently close your eyes. Again, take a deep breath, hold it for a while, and slowly release. In a way, we are now reducing our intentional activities. So we are not making much of the bodily activities. We have fairly stopped that, and we are not talking. And as a result of that, our speech also has stopped. And mental activities also now we are relaxing and don't think about any past problem. Don't think about any future plan. Just relax yourself. Just calm down. Again, you can take a deep breath, hold it for a while, slowly release. If there are any thoughts related to the past, don't encourage them. Just let them go. If there are thoughts pertaining to the future, don't encourage that either. Just stop them or let them go and come back to the body. Right now, we are sitting. Eyes are closed, head is straight, neck straight, shoulders in a relaxed position, arms resting on your lap, legs are bent, and we are in a comfortable sitting posture. See whether there are any intentions. Right now, the only intention is to relax intentions, to stop inner chatter, to relax the body. Probably now we can look at the breath. We can keep our attention at the nostril and simply allow your mind to observe in breath and the out breath. Allow the mind to calm, relax with the breath. Just softly keep your attention at in breath and at out breath. There is an initial intention that is to keep our attention. And once we started that, we release that initial intention and it's allowing the process to carry on. Each and every in breath and out breath, we are softly paying our attention. All the other activities have stopped. We have nothing but keeping our attention on each in breath, each out breath. So all the actions. So we have somewhat simplified into this very simple activity, just watching the breath, being with the breath. There also, we are not intentionally breathing. We allow the body to breathe. The body breathes without our intention. It has its own ability to breathe. And we simply observe it. We simply witness it. Joyfully witnessing it. We don't want to control. We don't want to interrupt. We allow the body to breathe naturally. And we joyfully witness that process. If your mindfulness is fairly established, you can little bit of do a penetrative recognition of the breathing, where you do a little bit of searching, investigation, whether in-breath is longer or shorter, whether in-breath is cooler or warmer, from which nostril it is going in. You can do the same for the out-breath as well. A little bit of investigation, little bit of curiosity. We are introduced into the process so that we are trying to explore. That also we are not doing more aggressive way, but a very gentle, very soft investigation, a careful attention. Once your mindfulness well established, you can even watch various thoughts. When they are coming, you can recognize they are merely thoughts, and without fabricating on them, without doing any kind of mental formations, you simply allow them to pass. Let them come, let them be, let them go. Relax yourself. Okay, I think we can stop the practical sessions here. And if you have any question related to today's Dhamma sermon or regarding your practice, so we can spend few minutes to discuss that.
Kamidini, can you unmute and ask your question?
Thank you. Thank you. Bhante, I have a question. I live in America in an apartment complex. It's a luxury apartment, but they are wanting to come and spray my, the compound for pet control. So how much am I involved in that as far as the Kamma goes?
Uh-huh. So it is not something you invited them, right?
Actually, I did say that there were cockroaches.
Uh-huh. So that is something actually sometimes we get into a situation where we have to take care of our health, take care of the whole environment, as well as certain regulations are there. You need to do this kind of maintenance work. All these things are there. So how to completely stop that? Or are we supposed to stop all and go against the rules and regulations? So these are little bit difficult questions to answer, to give a direct yes or no answer. But I mean, when the society rules and regulations, the social norms are comes into being, so our individual intentions are kind of in a conflict, and we may want to avoid any kind of harm to others, even to other animals, but still government regulations are there. Okay, you need to do maintain this kind of this and that. So that is there. That's why I mean, living a typical day life is not that easy. So you have to surrender. You need to adhere to all these, and there are certain amount of karma may come to our side as well. But the important thing is when we do a lot of other good karma, so these little things we can overcome. So we can't say that our living is completely free from any kind of evil, any kind of, say, harm to other living beings. When we are living as human beings, there may be a certain amount of impact on the others, certain amount of impact on the other living creatures. So intention has to be to minimize that impact or to minimize that harm. But whenever we are living, a certain amount of impact is unavoidable. That is impossible to avoid. Now, say you are driving. So there is no intention to kill animals, but as we drive, there may be a lot of other creatures. Either we step on them or either the vehicle may go through them and they may die. So we can't stop that. So therefore, when we are living, there's always a certain impact on the others that is unavoidable. But intentionally killing is something that we need to avoid, where intentionally we have a kind of a grudge and we have a kind of a hate and then we kill. So such kind of something, if we can avoid, so then the impact of karma coming on our way, fairly we can minimize.
So Bhante, although I went and told them that there were cockroaches and the action is taking place after that, what is the situation? You think it's okay?
No, thing is, if you requested to overcome
I
pest,
didn't. They were going to do that. I
that's the
mentioned
thing.
there were cockroaches because there is something coming from the upstairs one to my garage. So I complained about that and I said there are cockroaches also. Maybe this stuff that is coming from up there into my garage is causing the problem. So then they said,
no, thing is, you have mentioned available problems, so they may giving a solution. Probably you might not have a direct impact, but certain indication is there. So you have mentioned about your problem, but without directly telling, okay, you need to kill cockroaches, but they are coming and giving an easy solution by killing all or spreading a pesticide and sort of avoiding everyone.
Thank
So
you,
so that is how typically we take, I mean, if there is any kind of ants, okay, let's take the ants killer. If there are cockroaches or other creatures, let's take the pesticide. So this is the typical easy solution that humans have found to get rid of other animals. So, but on the other hand, if we can minimize the possibility of they coming in, approaching in, so that we don't need to kill them or we don't need to do any kind of pesticide, use to any pesticide, but we are very much like avoiding their impact, then in that way, actually, we can minimize intentional participation.
Thank you, Bhante. Yeah. I also had another comment to make about the climatic condition. Now, it brought to mind the time when the tsunami happened in Sri Lanka, and lots of people were killed because of that. Yes. So, if we are to understand that that is not caused by karma, but climatic things, right. Would you also not say that the people that got affected so strongly and lost their lives may have had some karma with it?
We can say so. We can connect certain impact coming from the karma, but the significance we have to attribute to the climatic change, a certain amount of environmental issues, and probably as a good karma, certain people were able to free from that, or to be not getting having any impact on that, but certain others have had an impact. So it's very difficult actually to give a direct answer saying, okay, this is yes, this is because of their bad karma, they went through it, they suffered because of that, and their all properties have left, their children left, everything happened because of their bad karma. So it's very difficult to say. Impact is coming from the certain amount of other influences, say because of the health issues, because of the others interruption, because of the environment, the climatic change, many things are there. So in a way, when we have a certain amount of good karma, probably it may help us to find a good solution, or it may give us an opportunity to look at various other alternatives. So kind of a very complex area. We can't immediately come across a simple answer giving, okay, yes, it is the bad karma. Yes, it is merely the environmental issue. There is no impact of karma at all. We can't say such kind of a black and white answer here.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhante. Yeah. Much merit to you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
Okay, since there is no any other questions, probably we can wind up the session.
Thank you very much, Chandarathana.
Okay.
I would like to ask everyone to unmute themselves and thank Bhante Chandarathana for another wonderful session.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Thero Saranai.
Thero Saranai, Bhante.